Lucknow was like a mix of Delhi and Calcutta. Geographically, also, it is like that, but it is not as dry or as cold as Delhi.
Now tell me something, when you first came to this home where we're sitting, where there's a large lawn and a big building and things like that. It is larger than most homes, I would say, anywhere in the country. What did you first think of it when you first saw it? Yeah, my father passed on the same night that the imli tree was cut down, so it was very symbolic for us.
Yeah.
Hello, Mummy and Mrs. Lolita Das. Welcome to Nayaab Nageene, which is this show that is about interviewing people who've had a long relationship with Lucknow and to talk to people about them, about this. So, Nayaab Nageene means something like precious gems.
Okay. Okay.
So, you're a precious gem for us. And thank you for agreeing to do this interview. So, just wanted to ask you, you've had a relationship with Lucknow that has been on and off, I guess, around 50 years or so, 50 plus years.
Yes, about 50 odd years, yeah.
So, when did you first come here?
Well, I came here first with my son. He was 8 months old.
Yeah.
And that was my first visit here. And it was very charming. I didn't know what I was coming in for, but I was very, very taken by it. My in-laws brought me from the railway station. I passed the university, which is a very beautiful building, and the Charbagh, another very beautiful building. I hadn't seen these buildings or heard of them. And
So, where were you coming from?
Delhi, and on the night trains, so it was, early morning, so it was.
Right. But you grew up somewhere in Calcutta?
Well, I
and
grew
it
up all over the place, but my impressionable years was in Calcutta,
Yeah.
and
So then, what were the big differences that you saw when you arrived in
well, the
Lucknow?
big differences were Lucknow was like a mix of Delhi and Calcutta. Geographically also it is like that, but it is not as dry or as cold as Delhi.
True. Yeah.
And Calcutta is, not as cold as Lucknow, and more humid.
Right.
So I that was my first thought when I came here, because I had never been before here.
Correct. But then you must have also noticed that it's quite a unique place. And
Yes, it's unique and charming because of the Nawabi culture. And then we did, my parents-in-law had lovely food, especially the kebabs and all that, homemade, delicious. And apart from kebabs, I'm very fond of vegetables also. The true UP vegetables, like a simple lauki ki sabzi, or turai or something like that. I mean, we've had it before, but somehow it has its own charm,
Yeah, they're very special masala and things over here.
Just lightly made is what I like. Changes in Lucknow, yes, over a period of time there have been a lot of changes, in the sense that it's really got crowded in the way of people and construction and building. The whole of Gomti Nagar has come up. There was no Gomti Nagar at that time.
Right, I remember. I remember Dada and all used to take us duck shooting in that area. It was a big swamp.
And he taught your brother how to drive his car on that road.
I know there was nobody there.
Yeah, there was nobody there.
Yeah. So, and what about the old parts of the city? Did you have anything to do with them?
Well, we used to come in so briefly, and then you children were quite small, so I didn't really go very much. I went there a little later. But yes, once we did go to the Imam Baras, I insisted on seeing them, and I was very charmed, especially by the Bhool Bholaiya. And your father said that we don't need a guide, we can go in on our own, and he was able to direct us through Well, it was
Yeah,
quite
navigate that whole
navigate
maze.
those,
Yeah.
yes, that maze. That was quite interesting.
So he'd obviously done it several times as a child,
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
he knew his way in and out.
yeah,
But it's not advisable for anybody watching to do it on
yeah,
your own
yeah,
because it's
yeah,
actually a maze and you can
yeah,
get lost in it.
yeah.
Okay. So, what did you think of the old city? I mean, now that you've traveled the world and seen places like Greece and
Well,
Rome
the
and
old city is very beautiful, and I find recently they have highlighted it with lights at night. The university also, and the Imambaras, and it really is beautiful. And I don't know when they started doing this, but recently I've been going, and when we had to go for bridge some 2 or 3 times. But I was telling you about that beautiful thing. I mean, it's not so beautiful, but it's so charming. That statue of a horse and a carriage. You
ah,
know, I don't know what kind of a carriage you would call it. Maybe a tonga or what, I don't know. And it
maybe an
looked so
ikka.
real.
Do you think it was
I
an
didn't
ikka?
look like an ikka, but I don't know, an old style, just next to that Imambara. I haven't seen this before. I was very charmed by that. And it's not beautiful, but it has a sort of a historical significance, you know. It's very beautiful.
Very
I like
striking.
that about it.
But the old city, I mean, it's also very beautiful, right?
The old
Gives
city,
you a
yes,
sense
where
of
you can go for kebabs and all. And we've been with your father once, your father and Amrita. We all went looking for kebabs. And another time somebody came from abroad and they said, yes, yes, we will have chaat and we will have kebab and we will have all the good things of Lucknow. And they started off with the kebabs and got so full that the
didn't end up going for the chart or
didn't go for the
anything.
chaat, much to my disappointment because I love chaat.
Yeah. Now tell me something, when you first came to this home where we're sitting, where there's a large lawn and a big building and things like that, it is larger than most homes, I would say,
Yes,
anywhere in the
yes,
country,
yes.
in terms of scale. What did you first think of it when you first saw it?
I found it very, very charming, and yes, I wasn't used to these sort of old colonial homes, so I'd seen them when your grandfather was in service in Delhi, but those were official bungalows. This
Those
was
are the
your
teen
own,
murti type, which were, you
yeah,
had colonnades and they were sort of white
and they
and
were
yeah.
official, so you knew that they were not your own. You were there just for a while and then you'd be out. But this was your own, you know, and I really thought it was so large, and somebody told me, you know, it was a cottage, referred to as a cottage. And I
And
thought
you
that,
were
that
like,
was the way,
it's
that's
anything
something.
but. Yeah, it's a big bungalow.
So, yeah. And
So
your
what about the
grandfather
garden? Yeah.
kept a beautiful garden. And when you were very little, a small child, of course, likes to show appreciation of the garden by plucking a flower. And your grandfather spotted you doing that. And you put the flower behind you quickly, and he was, you know, little amused and a little felt he should discipline you. And he hosed you down, and then I quickly had to run with you upstairs.
With the water pipe.
Yeah,
He was always in the garden. In fact, there's
yeah,
that very funny story of people passing by and
yes,
what was that
yes.
story?
Well, but people would pass by and want to meet him, and he was not always very keen to meet people, you know. And all sorts of fellows would come. And so once somebody said, "And where is the Sahab?" So he said, once he said, "I am the Sahab." The fellow didn't believe him. Another time he says, "I don't know." You know,
Yeah, he's
passed
gone
him
out or
himself
something.
of the
Yeah, that's
gardener.
because he was always, dressed in
Dressed in his gardening gear.
gear, yeah, so people wouldn't recognize him.
Yeah.
And he, of course, used to be, I don't know which year you will know this, but he was also the chief secretary of Lucknow, right? Which year would that have been in?
I can't really remember, but I think in the early 60s he was chief secretary, and before that he was DM, I think, which yeah.
Yeah, well, you have to do that.
Yeah.
And then he went on to the center in the
Yeah,
70s and
then he went to Missouri, and then he
also to
went to
Missouri.
Harvard, and then he went to Delhi. then he went
So he had a
where-
very
then
illustrious
yeah.
career, and in the
he
civil
was-
services, and I think in those days it was called the ICS, which is the
Yes,
Indian
I
Civil
see. Yes,
Service.
yes, very much so. And he was, I think, very well known in Lucknow in those days.
So now, Mom, you spend your time between Lucknow and Goa.
Yes, my daughter is in Goa. You're in Goa,
Yeah,
and thanks to your husband Willem,
yeah.
who made a choice of going to Goa, that
Yeah.
we are all in Goa. And
Well,
Goa
he
is a
went there
charming
first,
place.
and then you followed to
Yeah,
see what it was
yeah.
like, and
I'm used to big city life also. My husband used to call me a city slicker, which was a very funny expression, but I don't know whether to be bothered by it or not, but I take it as it comes, you know.
Yeah.
Big cities have their charm, and places like Lucknow. I remember
well,
years
Lucknow
ago.
has now grown
Now
into
it's grown so
into a
much.
big city. Yeah.
But apart from that, I remember there was a time when my uncle was telling my mother, he says, you should probably go to a UP town where you have good education and it's not so large and expensive.
Right.
You know, so that was a very a point I
Pertinent
remember very
point.
clearly when I was about 9 or 10. You know, and there, after that I had this affection for UP. You know, it's got such a mix of. Now I know it as the Ganga Jamuna culture,
Jamuna culture, which is what they call
but
it. Yeah.
that time it's because it's sort of in the middle of the country. So much of the Bollywood films are around it, you know, and it's that is what's so nice about UP as such, you know, better than any
And
other
and
state.
also I think the company that we keep here is very much the intellectuals, very much. I mean,
Yeah.
if I look at my own friend circle, as you are also, which you are also part of, we have Parsis, we have
Yes.
you know, people who might be from, say, the northeast, we have people who are Muslim, we have people who are
Yeah.
Sardar. Yeah, so
Yes.
it's like a real mix, you know. I
Yes.
mean, and Hindus, of course. So, and I think Lucknow has that particular quality that, you know, once you come here, you learn the tehzeeb, and then you're kind of inculcated into this beautiful, soft way of being. And it doesn't really matter what your background is. Everyone has something to bring and
Yes.
something to
Yes.
contribute.
Yeah.
And as a last word, perhaps, what would you say about the crowds that are just outside the front gate? I mean, there's a metro, there's a
Yes, what with the metro coming, which is a plus point for, because we can get to the Hazratganj so easily and even the airport
To
and
the
all.
airport.
But consequently, there are a lot of the vendors and all who then they muck it up, and but that's I suppose going to happen because it's going to be there, especially in the summer heat. They take shelter, you know, in the shade of the
the
bridge, the
metro bridge.
metro bridge, and then they tend to muck it up a bit, you know. And they made it dual carriageway, I think, some time ago. And then, of course, the metro. I think it came up just when your father passed.
Yes.
There's that famous, yes, your brother was very upset with it because one imli tree had been cut down. It was so iconic about
Yeah.
our home here.
I know everyone used to say the gate is at the Imli tree. And then that Imli tree was cut down and the metro station went up there.
And
Yeah.
that same night your father passed.
Yeah, my father passed on the same night that the Imli tree was cut down. So it was very symbolic for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge Imli tree where the trunk was that wide.
And that was the only time I recall, because they were cutting down the tree, they had blocked the road from the main road. We had to come
Yeah.
right from the back, Bishop
Yeah,
Rocky,
yeah,
and
yeah.
find our way in, and then negotiate the imli tree
Yeah.
to get into our compound. We couldn't even get in, you know, and that had never happened to us before. And in the middle of the night when there's no traffic.
Yeah, we were going up and down to the military hospital.
We were
which is
going to
where
the
my
military
father was.
hospital where the end came for him. Yes, so there are many memories of Lucknow, and will always, it's something you can't take away from us, from me. It's part of our
Lucknow
home.
lives in you, sort of.
Lives
Yeah,
in
yeah.
us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for spending an afternoon with us, just chit-chatting, meandering through our memories of Lucknow. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us.